Hi everyone, Flaming Footy here and welcome back to another YouTube video on the channel. And today guys, we are going to be continuing our AFL 2022 big round reviews. Yes, here we are for another big round review, and in this round review we are going to be reviewing every game from round 17 of the 2022 AFL season. What a massive round of footy it was, and we learned a lot more about teams as we always do, and there were some really big games in this round, as there will be for the rest of the season. So we're not going to waste any time. We'll go ahead and get started with this round 17 review. So the Cats and the D's headlined another big round of footy on the Thursday night. First versus second clashing at Kardinia Park, and it was the Cats that comfortably got the job done, 12-19-91 to the Demons 9-9-63. The Cats, they were inaccurate, so probably could have blown this game out by more than what it was, and were dominant in most parts of the game. It was even at quarter time. The Cats were up by 2 points at quarter time, and then had a little bit of momentum at the halftime break. The momentum really started to flow in the third quarter, before in the final quarter is when they got their kicking boots on and kicked away despite a late Demon surge. The Cats now, they go top of the table, however, with this big victory. Really important win for them. And again, their premiership hopes have just gone up another step compared to the Demons, which have now come back crashing down to earth with the rest of the competition. So on the Friday night, the Swans and the Dogs did battle at the SCG, and it was Sydney 17-18-120 that absolutely smashed the Western Bulldogs 9-13-67, proving that their finals hopes are just about over, with another crack on Friday night against the Saints to see where they sit. And this game could prove critical. They lost a lot of percentage. The Swans got more points. And the Dogs, they need to win against the Saints if their finals hopes are a chance. But yeah, this performance just didn't show why they should be making finals. And for the Swans, it showed why they are a finals-worthy team. And boy, a home final would be big for the Sydney Swans. And they stated it. They got 50 in the first quarter. Compared to the Dogs' 13, it was 50-13 at quarter time. And in the second quarter, the Doggies did regain momentum, but it was going to be really hard to just chip back the whole way through. And then the Swans just went berserk again in the third quarter to seal your deal. And then in the final quarter, kept the gameplay going and managed to bang on a few extra goals. But for the Western Bulldogs, this does just about prove that their finals hopes are over. Yes, Sydney at the SCG is a very hard team to play against. They play very well at the SCG, and that's why Sydney need a home final there. And this mounts their case for the Doggies. This mounts their case as to why they won't or why they shouldn't make finals. But they've got a couple of big games coming up to the Western Bulldogs to prove whether they will or won't. So now the first game on the Saturday, Collingwood 13-10-88, get over a very valid Roos side at 12-9-81. In David Noble's last game as coach, found that out this morning on the day this will be going out, that David Noble will no longer be coaching North Melbourne. So he's going to be out. They're going to have their interim coach come in, and could this help their club? Perhaps. This is not a bad way to see off a coach, though. They did have a few mini wins out of this, and they dominated most areas, and they dominated the game for most of it. They just couldn't do anything in the last quarter, because they were strong in the second and third quarters, and it looked over. They were up by 28 points, and then the Pies in the last quarter absolutely just come back from the clouds to steal this game, and this is why they loom to be a top four side. Now, to be completely honest, I don't think they'll be a top four side this year. I just feel like they will fall out, because you know your Melbourne, your Brisbane, your Geelong, your Fremantle, your Carlton. I believe they do sit above Collingwood, but I do feel like Collingwood probably are the sixth best team in the competition for now. And again, I feel like they're definitely going to be looking at a home final. And this is another really good last quarter to show that even they are down by this much, they can still come back and prove a massive win over a North Melbourne side that really did try. Now to Metricon Stadium, where the Gold Coast Suns 14-10-94 made the impossible comeback against the Tigers 13-14-92. The Suns win by 2 after the siren with a Noah Anderson goal. And the Tigers were up by 40 points at one stage, and the Suns came back from that miraculously. And it was the Tigers that had, the first 2 quarters right in their momentum, getting out to a 40-point lead early in the third. The Suns chipped away to come back and be around 5 goals down at the final change, and then again just chipped away in the last quarter at it. The Tigers couldn't do anything in that last quarter and won. What a miracle win this is for the Gold Coast Suns. It keeps their finals hopes well and truly alive. And for the Tigers now, this was their chance to create gap on the top 8. This was the chance to create a big gap. They're now equal on points with the 9th place Saints and 1 game behind the 12th place Port Adelaide. This team is in real danger of missing finals. After I thought they could have been a top 4 team, they are very well in trouble. Now to the first of 2 Saturday night games where St Kilda 10-10-70 lost to the Dockers 17-911. They blew a massive chance to win, and this was their chance to get back up into the top 8, and they couldn't do it. And for the Dockers, they're playing a lot of games at Marvel Stadium for the remainder of the year, so they had to win this and showed why they will still make the top 4 despite having still plenty of games to play at Marvel. They come back in round 19 against the Tigers, and then round 21, I think, against the Western Bulldogs. So they've still got 2 more games at Marvel to play out. And then 23 is at Manuka Oval against the Giants. So they've still got some away games to play out. This was another really good performance by the Fremantle Dockers. And what I've been saying this year for the Fremantle Dockers is that they've been able to turn games around in the third quarter. And that's exactly what they did in this one. And they got out to a 25-point lead at the three-quarter time break, which did spell the Saints some trouble. And the Saints were good for the first 2 quarters, probably the better of the sides. But then in the third quarter, the Dockers just took it away from them, ripped the game away, and then again just did enough in the last quarter to end up smashing the Dockers. To end up smashing the Saints, sorry. What a big performance this is by the Dockers, again, coming back to Marvel a couple more times this year to play. If they can win both the games against Dogs and Tigers at Marvel, this is a really good starting place to beat the Saints, and they'll play this ground well for the remainder of the year. And the Saints, this is trouble for them. They're definitely in danger of missing the top 8. So it was yet another disappointing performance to go with a disappointing season for the Giants. Looked like they were fixing things up. This was not the way they wanted it to go, though. Port Adelaide 12-12-84 smashed the Giants 3-11-29. 3 goals for the whole game. Simply will not cut it. It was a very disappointing performance, and they just didn't really try. Yes, they did bring the pressure for the whole second half, but it was a really boring game of footy. And for the first half, that's where Port Adelaide won the game. And then from there on, it was really boring. No team really made a big statement. Port Adelaide did get a few late goals, but Marshall and Rosie did put on the show. But again, it was a really good performance by the Power. Their finals hopes still hanging by a thread. They can still make finals, definitely. This was a percentage boosting win, but they did miss out on some extra percentage. They could have gone skyrocketing up in the second half as well. But again, the Giants, they did step up their pressure in the second half, but just couldn't hit the scoreboard. They were inaccurate. But again, the Giants, they may have trapped it in their 50, but just couldn't hit the scoreboard, and good teams have to hit the scoreboard. And Port Adelaide, this is another good performance, which shows as to why they're still alive in finals. They can still do it. Now on to the first game of the Sunday, where the Bombers are trying to turn around a patchy season, and they can still finish as high as 13th this year. And they've been playing alright lately, and they get a win against a very depleted Brisbane outfit. Brisbane 13-12-90, the Bombers 15-10-100. What a win this is. Yes, Brisbane had mega outs, 8 outs I think it was, and the Bombers had a few handy ins, but it was still a very good performance, and you don't want to take anything away from a young Essendon side that are still trying to build it, and they can build as far as 13th. Now, I think they currently sit in 15th or 16th at the current time. And they can skyrocket out the bottom 4 and finish as high as 13th, which, to be completely honest, isn't too bad. Now, Brisbane, they were always in the game, but the Bombers did have it on their terms for most of it. And this was a danger game for Brisbane. When you see the amount of outs they did have, it was a danger game, and exactly that happened. And the Bombers got out to a 19-point lead in the last. The Lions did bring it back, but the Bombers were just too strong, and Brisbane at the Gabba is a hard side to beat, but when you do have 8 ridiculous outs of really good players, it can be hard. And for the Bombers, this is a really big win. And the Lions, they've just lost a step in the top 4. They're currently equal with Carlton and Collingwood, not the top 3 leaders in the comp. Now to the second of 3 Sunday afternoon games. Hawthorn 13-86 get over the Adelaide Crows 8-6-54. The Crows absolutely nothing. They gave nothing in this game, and the Hawks were the better side for the whole contest. Yes, the Crows did bring the pressure in the third quarter, but other than that, they just didn't hit the scoreboard enough, and the Hawks, just like the Port Adelaide game, had the damage dealt in the first half, and the Crows were not coming back from there, and that is how the story stayed for the rest of the game. The Hawks, they were right on 40 points, 40-point leads at half-time, and you knew that the game was over. Yes, the Crows, they actually had a lot of momentum in the third quarter, but just couldn't hit it on the scoreboard, and then the Hawks just deal your final blows in the final quarter to run away, convincing winners. The Adelaide Crows, they're a really good chance now to finish in the bottom 4 of the season, and the Hawks trying to build their way out of the bottom 4, and this wasn't a great clash to watch at all. So now onto the final game of the round, where West Coast again went back to their old selves, how they were playing at the start of the year, and Carlton absolutely smashed them. West Coast 8-5-53, Carlton 17-14, 116. This keeps them intact with the top 4. A big clash coming up versus Geelong, and it was built off a strong first quarter where the Eagles didn't score anything. They couldn't score they scored nothing. 0-0-0 at quarter time, compared to 34 for the Blues. And then the second quarter, the Eagles did do damage. They kicked the next 7 goals. Well, they kicked 7 goals in the second quarter to the Blues 3. And looked like from here they had a good chance to take the game away. And in the third quarter, they kicked 1 goal. The Blues kicked 2 goals. And then the final quarter, the Eagles go goalless. So they kicked their last goal a quarter of the way through the third quarter and never kicked a goal, never scored from that point on. So they went a whole quarter and 3 quarters without scoring. So a whole quarter and then like the fraction 3 quarters without scoring, and the Blues absolutely piled on the paint and piled themselves percentage. So there's your round of footy. It was the Cats over the D's, the Swans over the Dogs, the Pies over the Roos, the Suns over the Tigers, the Dockers over the Saints, the Power over the Giants, the Lions over the Bombers, the Hawks over the Crows, and the Blues over the Eagles. Alright, so now to the ladder now. We could have potentially had a 4-way tie at the top of the table, but now it's only a 3-way tie. 48 points for the Cats, the D's, and the Dockers. Cats ladder leaders. The Lions, the Blues, and the Pies all equal on points. So if the Lions happen to slip up for a second week in a row, this does allow the swarm below them to really swarm up and, well, give themselves a handy chance for a top 4 spot. But again, losses for those clubs as well, the top 4 does go right out of the equation. And then, you got the swarm below you. Sydney are a game behind Collingwood, but a game clear of Richmond. But they do have a tough game against the Dockers. Richmond, they are a game behind Sydney, and equal with St Kilda, who are a game clear of the Dockers, the Suns, and the Power. There is a big swarm. The Giants sit in 13th position on percentage, and every team, 13 to 16, is all on 20 points. So we do have an interesting finish to the year coming up. I do believe the Essendon Bombers and the Giants will be playing each other later on in the year to see how that one goes. But now, to the all-important round 18. The Doggies and the Saints headlines what could be one of the biggest rounds yet. That is going to be a really big game to see who makes the top 8, what happens there. The Crows and the Pies. Again, the Pies, this is a game they can easily slip up on. They really cannot do that if they want to keep the top 4 chances alive. As to for the Lions, they play same time as the Pies. They've got the Giants at Manuka Oval. This, again, they can't slip up here. The Tigers have the Roos. Now, if they slip up here, this does allow the swarm behind them to come up and potentially take over their spot in the top 8. And realistically, they could go as low as 10th, really. Yeah, they do have problems. And then the Cats and the Blues on Saturday night, really big. This could really set up your top 4. The Dockers and then the Swans. So the Dockers and the Swans, again, another really big shaping game. So the 2 Saturday night is really big shaping games. Top 4, top 8, really big. Hawks play the Eagles. The Eagles, they need a response after last week's horror show to the Blues. They need a response. This is the perfect time to do it. The Demons and Port Adelaide then play in the Channel 7 Sunday afternoon time slot. Again, really massive game for both these 2 clubs. The loser can really fall out of favour. And if it's Port Adelaide that loses, their season could be over. And then 4:10 or 4:40 is the Bombers and the Suns at Marvel. Really big game. the Bombers, if they can take this chance, they can go up to 13th place on the ladder and end the Suns season. So really, really, really big stuff there. This top 8 race is getting really exciting, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how it plays out. There's still time. Clubs make their moves now, and yeah, it is going to be a really exciting finals race. You guys can let me know your tips or for the round, or you guys can let me know who you think will make the finals. But what a brilliant round we had of footy. The round preview will be out tomorrow. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. Send you guys and never miss another video on the channel. Thank you guys all so much for watching. So bye everyone, Flaming Footy out.